Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
All the full decades that you've coached, the game has changed quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, going back to a point where there wasn't a three-point line, seeing it go through the
I'm
80s.
old. Go ahead. You can just say I'm ancient. That's fine. I have no problem.
Coach, the fact that you're on this Zoom right now is a bit, no.
Yeah. And I turned it on by myself.
Not at all. Oh, I want to backtrack. No, like that. But seeing the changes in the game, how has it affected your philosophy because you are known for some amazing sets, on the offensive side? Like how has the game changing affected your philosophy in coaching?
Well, I still love messing with people, like taking defensive principles and using them against other teams. And that's what always done the same. And defensive principles have changed, but offensive sets have changed. And I still, that's how we go about it. And a lot of people doing a lot of 5 out. We have actions that we use that are 5 out, but we're always have a play if we don't have a quick hitter or push up the floor. And for me, I like knowing who's going to have the ball.
Yeah. And
I like knowing who's going to shoot. And I think it helps your rebounding in the midst of that. I mean, we led the league in scoring this year. And so I just like scoring the basketball. I like putting people in bad situations. And I like the other team's players when you run something and they're doing what their coaches told them to do on defense and you get a layup and they're looking over the bench, why are we doing this? And then all of a sudden you kind of get a grasp of the game because now they're wondering. And when you get them wondering, you get in a good spot as a coach, I think. And then so I think that part hasn't really changed. I mean, how we go about it. I mean, I watch film and I still find things. Before I had notebooks I'd have by my easy chair when I'd watch games. I have 2 notebooks. I'd have a program notebook of ideas. When I think of ideas, I'd write them in there. And then I'd have a play notebook. If I saw something on TV I liked, which is great now because you can record or you can go online. It's all over the place. But I've been blessed with a pretty good memory. And so when I'd see something, I really didn't have to see it again, and I could draw it up. I can see all 5 guys moving and make it happen. Not that, once again, it sounds like I'm talking about myself, but that's what I do. I mean, that's how I go about it.
I do think that's pretty rare. I don't think that's common. I can see something, but I know I got to write it down pretty quick. I think the ability to catalog those things, that's a blessing for sure.
And in the middle of the game, it's able to come back to that same kind of thing of why I write more things down than I used to.
Yeah.
From that, like you're talking about, but I still all year trying to change endings, do things that people aren't expecting, get our guys a different shot, try to get a different layup, start the game with layups somehow, some way that the other teams so that part hasn't really changed, but how we go about it, and we run a lot of different plays. I mean, I did a video series back in the 90s, VHS series, about plays and getting shots, and I even had them on the video, basically because of Don Meyer. I worked his camps at Lipscomb, and his assistant Ralph Turner was one of my best buddies in coaching, and I'd go out and work their camps and be there for his one-man clinic. So I was around Don Meyer, and we played against him when I was at Oklahoma Baptist. So I started doing some. I think we did 6 videos. We didn't sell quite as many as he did, but like just the mindset is so different now, where you can just go online and get whatever you want. I do think that's hurt coaching a lot, because even like this is good and I'm sure you're going to share it and whatnot, but I still like the clinic aspect of the game, mostly because of relationships.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
so much what you learn, which is good, but just hanging out with other coaching buddies,
Yeah.
going to eat with them. Like the medalist clinics in Dallas were amazing. We'd go every year and spend the night, and eat a little bit of Sweden and places that are no longer there, and crazy places, uh, and we talk ball, like,
Yeah.
whatever Jim Valvano talked about at the medalist clinic. We'd go to lunch and then we would dissect it and take our own take from it. And I think that's really lost
Yeah.
to somewhat the relationship part of clinics.
Yeah, you're right on the money. I want to jump in with that. I think a part of the reason that I'm doing this, because I never thought that anybody would really listen to it. I thought it'd just be me having these one-on-ones, and because of that fact, there isn't, and not, it wasn't just COVID, it was before that. Like there with technology and how easy it is to access information, you don't have to go and bounce things off other people.
Oh,
But
you're right. Yeah.
because of that, we lose that touch. And you're right. TABC still puts on a really good clinic down in San Antonio,
Yep.
and I look forward to that every year. To your point, it's not because of the speakers. It's because my coaching buddies are going down there. And as a private school coach,
Unless it's Buzz Williams, maybe, or somebody,
that's his early bird at 6 a.m. Yeah. But no, it is all the coaches down there are phenomenal, but it's the relationships.
It
it's
is
getting to, yeah.
It is. And I think just learning more about why you do your philosophy, and taking ownership for yourself of your own
Yeah.
philosophy.
Can you explain it? Can you explain it to another coach? Like,
Yeah.
do you have the confidence or the knowledge, and then when they kind of fight back or push back on something, you either learn, you know what, I think you're right. I think there's a better way to do what we're doing, or I got an answer for that.
Or let's scrimmage and I'll show you.
That's right. What's your schedule look like? Yeah. You said one thing that I've always thought. So we are a 5-out, and it is more on the race and space idea or side of it. But I love the idea of creating conflict between the opposing coaches, players, and them. Like and you nailed it. Whatever offense you run, whatever system, it better take good defensive principles and make them pay for using those principles. And when you feel that conflict between their players and their coach, then I feel like you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think that takes work.
Mm.
And if you just keep rolling out doing the same thing over and over again, eventually it's going to catch up with you.
Yep.
And then on top of that, a lot of guys don't know how, they've been assistants and they think they know, and then all of a sudden they get their job and they're going to do it a certain way because of the head coach that they've been under or what they think will work. But the adjustment part is the most critical part to being a coach, learning how to adjust, because even if it's a really good thought and it has worked, it's not going to always work. It's just not.
And that's when you hear that's not how we worked on it in practice. Well,
yeah.
If you're saying that in the game, then it's that Jocko Willink idea of extreme ownership. You've got to turn that finger around and point it right back at yourself. Because if it's not working, then it was either not the right plan, or it wasn't taught, or for them to be able to execute it the right way. I'm not talking about effort or things like that, but to
your point, I have a little saying, proper preparation precedes production. Proper preparation precedes production. Like, so we do 5-on-0 like crazy. We'll warm up doing 5-on-0. We do, our guy will do 5-0 in the hotel. We'll do it in the hotel. We'll do it in airport. Whatever. So like, our mindset of our guys is that, hey, we're going to execute or be executed, because we're not going to get this done. And execution is who we are,
that.
And if we don't execute, we're in trouble, because this is an identity from year to year of what this program is going to be about. And we're going to put pressure on another team about how we go about executing everything that we do, whether it's offense or defense.
Man, a couple golden nuggets are great ideas. I think that I've gotten from this already. One was the notebooks. I kind of breezed right over it, but love hearing that about your process, because we all see like the NBA game will be on. I'll be like, man, that's good. I like that, and I might try to scramble to get my phone out and ask my wife to rewind it. But if I have the notebook handy, and I like the two notebooks. I like the basketball portion, and then a golden nugget that somebody shares after a game or at halftime. Like, get that down. That was one. But the other one was the 5-on-0, because I've listened to some, guys way smarter than me that talk about it should always be live, small sided, building up, whatever. But then, coach, this year we did more. So we try to play free when the ball is live, like off of a make or a miss. I don't stop them, but on a dead ball, we're going to run something. And this year we've executed better than ever before, but I've done more 5-on-0 with those actions than ever before. So I kind of see the connection between that. But up until this last year, I was one of those guys frustrated with our lack of execution, but yet not really giving them maybe the time or the reps to gain that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I agree with that. Preparation equals confidence. Confidence equals championships. I believe that. I mean, you got to prepare, and we're the same way. I mean, if I don't prepare what we're getting ready to do, or I'm not prepared for practice, we're not gonna. I mean, if we don't have a plan, it's not going to be very good. But if your guys don't, I think, have a plan and visualize what can transpire and what that cut means, and why do I have to run a certain way? And sure, we go 5-on-5. Live, but we start the day and we finish the day a lot of times 5-on-0. And I just think it's a good way to warm up and get loose. And you don't have to go 100 miles an hour while you're doing it.
It's better than movement prep, which is like, oh, golly, I went and worked with a team this year, and I was sitting there and I knew that my part was going to be a little bit later on in their workout. And sure enough, though, their warm up, I mean, it made me think like either I'm not warming up my guys at all compared to this, or this is a lot. Like I'm looking at 20, 25 minutes of time, and there's something to be said, I think, about routines, getting your guys' mind right. This is who we are. This is what we do, habits over time. But 5-on-0, you're moving, you're cutting, you're doing some of the same actions that you might do in a line walking forward.
And no doubt about it. And you're V cutting or what? I mean, you're doing all those things. So anyway, it served us well. We've done it every place we've been, every level we've done it at. And it's just kind of a hallmark of how we're going to start practice. And, in fact, they make fun of it sometimes. 5-on-0, and then we use echo communication in everything that we do. And and a quick story about that. So when I was coaching women, we win back then. The NAI, there was 900 schools NAI when there was only one division. We win 18 games, lose 2 at home, and then we go on a big run. But we get to the Kansas City, we're getting ready to play municipal. In NAI, you have to win 5 games in 7 days. Back then, now you don't, but you had to win 5 games in 7 days, and there were teams from all over the country. Well, we ended up winning our District 9, it was called, and but I went up early with my AD and the man with the purse, our financial guy, and for some reason we stopped in Wellington, Kansas to bowl. I don't know why, but we're up. We go and we're just laughing and cackling. And our team was coming up the next day. So we went on up. There were some meetings I had to be at. They didn't need to be at. So by the next day, when the team got there for us to practice at Rockhurst in Kansas City, I had no voice. and I'm a loud guy. Like, I mean, I get into it. And so what happened in that practice though was, and I'm getting ready to have to coach 5 games in 7 days. We're going to win a championship. And in that practice, what happened, they got closer to me and listened more intently to what I was saying. And then they were telling each other what to do. And I later learned that that's what the military does. Also, they call it echo commands. But we started doing it in 1989
because you lost your voice.
because I lost my voice. But that
Yeah.
moment on, even till today,
Yeah.
what I do in practice, the best player, the least player, whatever, we go from drill to drill, and I'll just walk over and say what the next drill is into somebody's ear, and then how fast can we get organized? How can they say that to everybody? They, have different guys saying those things. I think it's really been a good thing. We ended up winning the national championship that year, and we did win 5 and 7. So a lot of people would say you probably should shut up more and not be so loud. But what did happen from that point forward? We called echo communication, and our guys yell echo, and whatever the commands or whatever we're doing, even during games, we're trying to echo what's going on. It's really been a good thing for us.
I was trying to think about why don't more coaches do that, and then maybe the answer that I came up with is control. Hard to give up control.
No doubt about
I think we like to be the loud one and the one that they all listen to. But how much more empowering would it be? I mean, you hear the cliche like player-led teams, but how often do we really put them in positions to lead each other? Or do we just like to say that?
No, you're right. No, I agree with that. But anyway, it happened by mistake, and it's continued to be something really good for us. No doubt about it.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.